Thank you for our panelists. It was a very interesting conversation about the pension systems and the challenges moving forward. My name is Alejandro González. I'm also a board member in InBest. And now we would like to continue with a very important tradition at Chile Day. I'm talking about the InBest El Mercurio Award. This special award was created 10 years ago to distinguish and recognize the virtues and personal commitment of a Chilean who has made a significant contribution to the development of the capital markets of Chile, the globalization of the financial industry, or to generating value for this market. The final decision was taken by a jury that includes the former governors of the Chilean Central Bank, plus the individuals that have been granted this award in previous years, the chairman of InBest, the Ministry of Finance, and finally, the economic editor of El Mercurio. And with no longer waiting, this year's award goes to Andrés Velasco. I could at least be here for a whole day reading the resume of Andrés Velasco. I'm going to go straight to the most relevant issues. First, he's a professor and dean of the School of Public Policy of the London School of Economics and Political Science. Since 2021, he's been a member of the external advisory group to the managing director of the IMF. Mr. Velasco was also a presidential candidate in Chile in 2013. He was also the Minister of Finance of Chile between 2006 and 2010. During his tenure, he was recognized as the Latin American Finance Minister of the Year by several international publications. In 2013 and 17, he served as Professor of Professional Practice in International Development at the School of International Public Affairs at Columbia University. Between 2000 and 2006, he was the Sumitomo Faceit Professor of International Finance and Development at the Harvard Kennedy School. He holds a BA, a degree in economics, and also a master in international relations from Yale University, and he also holds a PhD in economics from Columbia University and was a postdoctoral fellow in political economy at Harvard University and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. But most relevant of all, for those of you who are not aware, Mr. Velasco was a big promoter of the creation of InBest, formalizing this group that started as a consultation group for the Minister of Finance and ended up in this, I would say, foundation that organizes not only Chile Day, but works closely with the different ministers in finance from 2008 onwards. That's it. We were supposed to get in contact with Andrés, but unfortunately, due to the time that we have here, it was not possible. And with that, I'm going to leave you with Pablo Correa, the chairman of InBest. Thank you.
Well, as InBest, our main aspirations are facilitating global investment flows towards Chile and helping to become a regional financial hub. Chile Day is one of the most important activities in reaching those goals, as it gave us the opportunity to gather with global players, learn, discuss, and share our experience. I thought of this event as one where we would talk about the future, about where global capital markets are heading, where we could discuss the best practices of diverse industries, share our lessons, both good and bad. And that was the whole idea of being here, sharing with diverse actors and friends and learn from them. And I am glad that we are closing these very fruitful and productive days indeed. Another conclusion of these days is that Chile has strong competitive advantages in becoming a regional financial center for Latin America. Our capital market is robust, deep, and one of the most sophisticated in terms of the number of participants, instruments, and industries. Likewise, Chile's institutional strength and the innovation on its regulatory framework in aspects such as the development of payment system or open banking, just to mention a few, is news that make me confident that our road towards turning into a major financial service exporter in the region is on its way, notwithstanding the negative shocks suffered in the past, but bad public policy, which reduced the market size. I am also positive that those were transitory shocks, and that all the structural advantages that Chile has remain as solid as ever. But even more, I am also sure that we learn about how a well-functioning capital market can make a clear difference in the well-being of many. After the pension fund withdrawals were passed by Congress, few believed on the warnings made by the experts. Yet, all became true. The inflationary shock, the disturbance in the local fixed income market, and others, and its consequences over households, SMEs, etc. Today, there is a broad consensus on the benefits of having a strong, robust, and liquid capital market. That it's a necessary condition to become a developed country in a multidimensional fashion. And for that, we need to enhance its transparency, complexity, diversity, and competitiveness. Also, and above all, we need to reinforce the idea that more competition, more participant, local, international, public, and private is always better. And that there is nothing better like improving innovation, generate new ideas, promote the market as a way to make people more empowered about their decisions, such where do I want to save, who do I want to manage those savings, how do I want to finance my projects, who will give me my mortgage, how can I make the different participants to compete for it. So we should never forget about these things, as we should never forget about our history, our mistakes, and our accomplishments. I will also take a pause and a moment to make a special thank to my College of InBest, especially those who this year become part of the board, Ignacio Golzak, Francisco Guzman, and Hernan Rodriguez. Also, I would like to announce that as a way to enhance our governance and make InBest more robust, we created a new advisory council to the board. And I sincerely thank Mr. David Gallagher, Jaime de la Barra, and Diego Peralta for accepting our invitation to be a part of it. We are certain that this will accomplish important things for InBest. Now I will give the final words to the Minister of Finance, Mr. Marcel, to close this event. Mr. Marcel.
Okay, well, good afternoon. Over the last day and a half, we have had the opportunity to cover many issues. On the first broad-based Chile Day in London after the pause caused by COVID-19. And I think it's been great to be joining you in reinforcing or relaunching this process that is so important for the Chilean economy, for Chilean business opportunities, and we hope also for investors that are interested in investing in Chile. As usual, we acknowledge the very important role and leadership of InBest Chile that has been pursuing on this venture for more than 10 years, and I would really like to praise them for their ability to organize this event. It's not easy to do that from away from our home. So I think it's fair to acknowledge their great contribution to making this event possible. Similarly, HSBC has been sponsoring Chile Day for many years, this time again, and as usual, they have provided us with a lot of support on the networking and substantial discussions on this meeting. I would like to thank all the guests that have participated, the governor of the Central Bank of Chile, the staff of the Central Bank, Chilean members of parliament that joined us this time again, the economic authorities, the director, board members of the Financial Markets Commission, the Superintendency of Pensions, the private sector representatives, the HM Treasury that joined us yesterday and with whom we signed an MOU this morning, and overall the investors and analysts that have participated in the different sessions alongside the panelists. I think it's been a very rich meeting where we have covered such a wide range of issues as going from a constitutional process to pension reform, to women in finance, fiscal reform, venture capital, the green finance, and so on. I think that in all these panels, there has been a very rich discussion, and I think it's pretty telling that we are ending this event very much at the same time that in Chile, political leaders reached this agreement for a new constitutional process that will address many of the difficulties that were faced before, and that created a lot of uncertainty on the result of the constitutional process that time. I think that over the last 3 years, we have dealt with the issue of uncertainty. We have not been alone on that in the world. Of course, there are many sources of uncertainty these days, but one thing that one could expect is to make sure that our own sources of uncertainty are properly dealt with, and I believe that we have to praise all actors that contributed to agree on a new constitutional process 3 months after the referendum that rejected the previous proposal. I think that I guess that many of you have already looked into this, into the terms of this agreement, but basically I think it takes care of 3 factors that proved in the previous process to be very critical. First of all, to have clear rules of the game stated well before the active process starts. Secondly, having a mechanism to elect members to the constitutional body that are representative of the people, but also that are able to collaborate with each other in putting together the best constitutional proposal. And thirdly, to having a system of checks and balances that ensure that the final product or the final result as a constitutional proposal is sufficiently articulated, integrated, and consistent, so that it can provide a clear view and a clear framework for the years to come for our institutional development. So I'm very glad that, this happened exactly at the time when we are meeting, and many of you asked about the constitutional process. There was a panel yesterday on the subject, and it's great to be able to report on progress on that in the course of this Chile Day. So I thank you all for participating in this event, the organizers again. And the most important thing is to look forward to our next meeting this year. I said yesterday that the good thing about Chile Day in London is that you have the chance of comparing what you were saying last time to what you're seeing today, and probably create the expectation of what we will discuss next year. I'm sure that there will be a lot of progress to report on the institutional, the macro, and the productive side. I hope that many of the issues that we have discussed with investors are translated into investment decisions, into the development of projects that contribute to the development of the country. So I really look forward to seeing many of you here. I don't know exactly in what position I will be at that time, but given that I have attended the last 4 Chile Day London meetings, I guess that we can all look forward to a meeting again next year. So thank you all for attending, for your contribution, and thank you.
Well, finally, again, just to mention that it has been our great honor to organize this Chile Day, and I am sure that next year it will be even better. Finally, I just want to remind you that you are all invited to a networking event, a lunch in the Foreign Office. And before leaving, I would like to invite you all to our traditional official picture, which is going to be taken from that angle. So I invite you all to come to this way so we can take our final picture.
¿Qué quieres que diga? Se aprieten. Les pedimos a las personas que están en las puertas que se acerquen un poco más, por favor. Y un saludo a Chile. A las 3, digan Chile. 1, 2, 3. Chile. Una más, una más. 1, 2, 3. Chile.